I know. Well, here we are. We are live in the kitchen with Hollie.
Yay!
I missed you last week.
I'm looking at my face on the intro of the show, and I look so much younger.
There's a nice, we have good cameras on Be Live.
How long have we been doing the show?
They're kind to us on Be Live.
Oh, hey guys, how are you?
Oh, good. Yay. Nice to see you.
How are you?
How's this store going?
Yeah. It's hot. This store is going. It's got a lot to do. Bella and Jack, my kids, and my other sister Heidi was visiting. And of course, if somebody visits, you got to put them to work. So I made poor Heidi paint. So I'm like, I'm so glad you're here. Here's a paintbrush.
Yay.
So labor. Exactly. So we've been, I've been searching out furniture. Who knew that people give away furniture online? It's crazy. Like Facebook Marketplace, all these beautiful tables, and I got a bunch of other things. And for free? For free?
Well,
almost. I mean, I think they just want you to come get them because they're moving or they just want to get rid of it. And I'm shocked at how much amazing stuff there is because it's incredible.
Well, California is really good for that.
Yeah.
But it really is. My friends have gotten tremendous things on Craigslist and giveaway and.
Well, there's the Facebook Marketplace so far is where I've been scoring. So you just
good.
So easy and it's super convenient and it's just. I mean, if you need furniture on Facebook Marketplace.
Hey, what's going on that table of yours?
Thanks for the tip. I want everybody to know who's watching that we need to say a group like applause for a woman starting her own business on her own, no partners. You know, you're just doing this, Hollie, and our hats are off to you, and it's not easy. And you've had some kind of sexist gripes and comments along the way.
Oh, come on. Really?
Shocking. Little lady, are you trying to start a business? I know. I think it's funny, I'm also, full disclosure, 51 years old. I'm not, this is not my first trip around. So
like as if that would matter.
The ponytail doesn't really help because
Can you do math, ma'am?
Haircut, but a grown-up haircut. But it is interesting, I think ventures are scary, and they're especially scary for women to go on their own, and there isn't always a lot of support. I've been really lucky. My lender is a nonprofit called Working Solutions that has been a real partner. They have a whole pro bono group of wonderful people that are very highly successful that donate their time to people like me. You just have, if you find that, you got to find your group, and you got to find
your niche. Yep.
And as Mark Stewart once said to me, because I had the privilege of meeting her a few years ago, she said, you have to do it on your own because that way you get to make your own decisions. And it's really you can drive the train, and it's hard to create a brand and create what it is that you're trying to put out.
Network.
Yeah, you've got all this committee that you're dealing with, and so I have to say, having my own business for this long, it's fun. It's fun to be the decision maker. It also is the flip side, of course, is if it fails, it's your fault too. So it's okay, So I think it's for any budding entrepreneur.
No, just blame the men. We always get blamed.
Right. It's your fault.
It's not your fault. It's never your fault.
It's something. It's not for the faint of heart. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and sometimes I applaud anyone who starts a small business because it takes so much time, and there's so much red tape and bureaucracy. And I mean, I if you could see my dining room table right now, if I turn it's piles. Okay, this is the health department. This is the alcohol license. These are the signage people from the city. These are my landlord's approvals. I mean, it's piles and piles.
Yep.
It's the wine labels. It's just everything. So
things you never thought of, like the signage.
Oh my gosh. I had a Zoom call with the city of Lafayette just to understand the page long single spaced criteria for the sign. So,
wow,
I hear you. Been there, done that.
Yeah, I get why they do it, and it just takes time. So it's something that you're thinking, oh, I'll start a business, it'll be so great, and then you're like, oh my god, I know.
It's so much work.
A lot of work.
So that's when people say to us, "Where's the cookbook?" And we're just like, "Okay, it's a lot. It's a lot."
So what you doing?
It's been
What do you got there?
What's there?
80s here for the last few days, and we had a really cold April, so it's very weird. So I had my last farmer's market.
Okay, listen. Last night we went down to 46. I actually went out. Yeah, cold and rainy, and I went outside this morning. It was very lovely, and I went over and touched the leaves of my tomato plants, and they were cold.
Oh, poor babies.
Sad.
They're hard. You guys are hardy folk in New Mexico. I'm sure your tomatoes will be fine. But
yeah,
I think we've had such these weird highs and weird lows too. So, but the last 2 days, it triple digits yesterday, and it's probably in the 80s, 90s.
What?
I know.
June, May 31st.
Well, we also had a freezing cold April, which was unusual. So anyway, but there you go. But good news is stuff is still growing in my garden. Oh, there's my doggy.
Yay. There's no explaining it, Lucy.
Dogs. Hi, Bee. Okay. Anyway, so a couple things about iced tea. Here's a really, the basic thing is it's hot tea with ice. That's what iced tea is. So you can make anything that you make normal tea, iced tea. So I think people seem to have this misconception about iced tea that it's a special kind, or it has to come in some sort of dehydrated package, or I don't know, but I get the craziest questions about tea. So tea just is something like an herb or a spice or a flower that you have submerged in water and let it steep. That's what tea is. So you can use anything, of course, except for poisonous plants. Don't use those. But anything can be made into tea. So to prove that theory, we're going to make some delicious iced teas, but we're going to make hot tea first, and then we're going to put ice in it to turn it into iced tea. Hence the word ice, which is sort of a giveaway there. I know, it's amazing. But I cannot tell you how much
iced tea, it's iced.
Right.
Past tense.
Something about Americans with tea. I think, it's the second most consumed after water beverage in the world. But Americans, we don't drink a lot of tea compared to the rest of the world. So for us, I feel like we think it's kind of like wine. We think there are all these rules, and I can't do this and I can't do that, but you really can. It's okay. It's really okay. So
I'm drinking my cha right now, which is a brown rice tea.
See,
you can make tea.
Right.
Well, I think it's interesting. We don't have the tea ceremony like so many countries have all over the world. We don't do that. We don't take time. We just get coffee on the go, we slug it down, and if you have iced tea, you order it at the restaurant. It's an Arnold Palmer, mix it up.
Yeah. I love high tea. I
lived in Europe for a few years and loved high tea at the Basel Hotel where I used to stay. Not the big
with the cucumber sandwiches.
Of course.
Love that.
Had to have them.
We did that for my first baby shower. It was a high tea. It was really fun.
I was in charge. Okay. So here's the thing. So I just pulled a bunch of stuff out of my cupboard just to show you the kinds of things that you can do with tea. So on the countertop here, all this greenery, these are all things from my garden. But to show you, you can just use herbs, so there's no caffeine, or you can use green tea. You can use black tea. I actually do a decaffeinated green tea because I can't have too much caffeine. You can also combine teas that you like this one's elderberry and echinacea, so it's got some good medicinal properties, and you can add herbs to it. How about that? And this is a pretty purple color, so it makes it fun and festive for your guests or yourself. You're going to party down on your own. So just to let you know, you can have those be a base. Also, I have some really good black tea here.
I think it's funny, like in certain countries, like in France, I know that you can order regular tea, which is always black tea, or it's like, oh, I want it infusion, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's their herbal tea. It's an infusion, you know.
England, they used to say, because I didn't want black tea, caffeinated tea, because I don't really tolerate caffeine well. They just called them fruit.
Oh, I wish I didn't, but I do.
Usually, fruit you know, there usually wasn't fruit in them. But they said, oh, go fix Holly her fruity tea, you know. So that meant my herbal tea without caffeine. So I got teased a lot for that. Anyway, I digress. So I of course have mason jars at the ready. These are one of my favorites because these are the large ones.
I love the large one.
I know, these are great. And again, although it's hard to find glass now, but keep trying at your hardware store because these are $1 a piece and they come in like an 8 or 10 pack. But this is a fun way or a nice receptacle to use to make iced tea. You can also use a pitcher, a bowl. You can do it right in the glass. I also have
no plastic though. You don't want plastic.
Plastic, you know, anytime you're heating something up and you just don't want plastic. But if that's all you have, it's okay. Next time you go to the store, buy something with glass and replace it. Oh, there was a lid to this.
Or recycle a jar.
Exactly. Yeah, actually pasta sauce jars are great for that. This is a little teapot that actually has a diffuser inside, a metal diffuser inside.
Oh, I'm a little teapot.
And this is one of my favorite teapots. So it's great. You can stuff it with all kinds of things, and it just can steep on the counter. The other fun one I have is very similar. This is just a little sort of single cupper, a cuppa, as they say. And this has a little, netting, for straining inside.
Strainer, yeah. Someone's asking, is that 32 ounces?
This is it's 6. It really is 7 cups, and there's 8 ounces, right, per cup. So Japomatics, how many? 56 ounces.
What did you say it was?
6 times 8?
No, that's it's really 7. Well, it says 6 cups, and there's 8 ounces in each cup. So up to here is 48, but you can also fill it about another cup or so here.
Okay.
So 48 ounces, and there's 128 ounces in a gallon. So this is probably a quarter of that, right?
Yeah.
So that's you guys do the math.
Yeah.
Just do the math.
Somebody do the math.
Somebody do the math. So first things first.
Here, I'll do it like Stephen Colbert.
Exactly. But you get a little tape that rolls out of it, right? And just
Right.
So I went into my garden and cut a few things that I like to do for teas. These are also herbs you can buy at the store. You can go raid your neighbor's garden, or find at a farmer's market, all those fun things. So one of my, all-time classic is, of course, lemon. People love to put lemon in your tea. It's a great way to brighten it up and give it some freshness, especially with some of the, like green tea. I like to put lemon in green tea. It kind of freshens it up a little bit. So lemon is a good way to start. So I picked some peppermint. I picked some lavender. You don't always think of lavender with tea, but a little bit of lavender is really nice. And my favorite thing to pair it with is chamomile. So
Chamomile.
This is chamomile.
I love chamomile and lavender together.
Yeah, they're sweet little daisies, and or look like little daisies. And I sell this as a plant to plant in your garden, as a nursery plant at the farmer's market. And people are always asking me, how do I make tea out of this? Super simple. Pick the flowers, put them in hot water.
That's it.
You got chamomile tea. You're in the chamomile tea business right there. So I think what's interesting is that people, again, we seem to have a hard time connecting the fact that tea is just steeped plants, flowers. So I thought chamomile is such a good example because like literally every customer would ask me that question. And do I have to dry it first? No. In fact, chamomile tastes better fresh. It has a honey flavor. You know how chamomile can get kind of that dirt, earthy flavor? Fresh, it smells and tastes a little like honey, and of course you didn't add it. So chamomile is a great, and it's like a weed. It's super easy to grow. You can grow it in a pot if you want. Like listen, man. And another thing about chamomile.
And another thing.
So I actually have 3 varieties of mint here. One is a Mojito Mint that I think we planted the other day or a couple weeks ago. This one's kernel Colonel something. I have had this for so long, I can't remember the name. But this is another good soft leaf spearmint, and that's all that these are. There are, again, lots of varieties of mint, and mint also cross-pollinates. So if you had 1 or 2 varieties in your garden, chances are you've now created your own variety somewhere. So, but for cocktails and iced tea and drinks and food, I like to look for a soft leaf mint. This one, on the other hand, is a little rougher. You can tell the leaves just feel rougher, but it's got a ton of high oil content. So I grow this variety more for, I use mint in some of my salts and infuse it in vinegars and things like that because of the high oil content. But it's great with.
Okay, so someone is saying, is that a perennial? And I'm assuming you're asking that about the chamomile.
So mints are perennials. They will come back with a vengeance. So make sure they're contained. Chamomile is not a perennial. However, this little yellow part in the center of the flower is full of seeds, and they're so light that they're really hard to even seed save. So if I seed save chamomile, I actually just cut the whole head of the flower and put it in a container. They reseed very easily and they germinate really easily. So I planted chamomile 5 years ago in my garden, and to this day, I get a full crop of it, and I don't reseed. I like manually.
Okay, so here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
I have a package of dried chamomile flowers, organic ones. Can I just plant those flowers?
No, because the chances are it's probably too old and those seeds are beyond being able to germinate. Sometimes you can. It depends. If you got it from a farmer like me who just dried them, but remember, just because they've harvested them, they should have harvested them at the height of their flavor, which is not when they're going to seed.
Right. Gotcha.
It probably means that if you did try to plant them, the seeds wouldn't be ready yet anyway. When the seeds are ready when the plant has finished, its life cycle, and it's like, okay, now we're going to go to seed and regenerate ourselves. So usually that's why that doesn't matter because they're being harvested to for consumption at its highest flavor point and not at its. Sorry, somebody's calling.
What is that?
It's my phone.
Is that me?
It's my phone, which is attached to that, and it's actually our mom. Hi, Mom.
Cool.
Now, I feel like
we're doing Mom, turn on the TV.
I love it. I feel like I should have a hairbrush. Mom, we're doing our show right now. Okay, can you not call? Mom. Well, Lisa and I did it a few times in our youth. All right, so the next thing I have is lemon verbena, which is all-time favorite tea. I love it. It's got a really high oil content. You can tell the leaves are kind of dry. It's delicious. So this is, if you like sort of lemony herbaceous flavor, lemon verbena is your go-to herb. You can buy this dried too. It's all over, but fresh, gosh, grow the plant. It's a perennial and it's fantastic. Another really prolific plant is lemon balm. Lemon balm is a great medicinal.
I love lemon balm. It's so pretty.
Lemon balm a bunch of times. Lemon balm is good for anti-anxiety. It's a really important medicinal.
Sometimes I just chew it when I'm feeling down.
Yeah, I usually put this in.
I probably should have chewed it for a year now.
This is like the Trump years. We needed to roll around and stuff.
Well, see, this is a nice combo then. The lemon, lemon verbena and chamomile. So relax, people.
One of the teas in my brand, I do verbena and lemon balm because the lemon balm doesn't have the same bright lemony flavor that verbena has. It's a little more piney and not that really pungent lemon flavor, like bright lemon flavor. But it's got an earthy, it's definitely lemony, but it has a little bit of the pine to it. But it's really good and so good for you. And it's great for kids. This is another thing for kids. It's a great way to get them to get some good medicinal properties in them that aren't vitamins and aren't, things that they won't like. So those are the herbs that were just in my garden. There's so many more you can do. Oh, I also picked a couple roses. Don't be afraid to eat your roses. Okay. They're edible. These are my rugosas that are the most I wish we had smell vision. They're the most unbelievable smelling rose. And they're very thorny and viney. And I have permanent scars from harvesting them, but I can't stand it because I love them. So anyway, I put this with my chamomile, and my lavender. I do a combination of the 3 of them for a tea.
So you
Okay, so here's a question.
Mhm.
Is that related to bee balm?
the lemon balm.
You know, it isn't. This isn't. There is a bee balm, and they're not in the same family. Bee balm is a wonderful medicinal tea. It produces this gorgeous flower
So pretty.
that has purple. You can get them in a lavender, like a fuchsia. I've seen them in white. And they have these beautiful little flowers that stick out. And they're just gorgeous.
Like a thistle in a way.
And they're annuals too. So if you do bee balm, you know, if you plant it, you'll have it the next year also. So that's a great plant
So
too.
you could take any of these flavor combos that you like and experiment, and you can make them solely herbal, or you can add these to the black tea.
Exactly.
To flavor the black tea.
Yeah, or the green tea.
Or the green tea.
Or an existing blend of some kind that you like. Like this.
Or like rooibos. Or whatever.
Rooibos is herbal. It's not caffeinated. It's from South Africa. It's a native grass there, and indigenous people have been drinking that tea, and the rest of it.
So good.
Now
I love
that. I love rooibos. They're very strict about rooibos, though. They don't let any seeds or plants leave South Africa. So the only place you can get it is in South Africa. Or to grow it is there. All the people that produce it here have to buy it from there. So they are.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're
good
very
for them.
I tried to buy some years ago, and they were like, we don't. It's like illegal to take seeds and plant
Good.
in the country. So, so we're stuck having to buy it. But it's one of those drought tolerant weird plants. If you look at it, it's not much to look at as a plant. But it really has such wonderful flavor and pairs well with a lot of really good things like vanilla and what's the other thing they use? Sometimes orange they pair it with. So anyway, so
you got a lot of questions, Holly. You've got one more.
Yeah.
Are all herbal teas caffeine free?
Yes, they are. So here's
Good question.
Here's the thing with the caffeine. So there is one plant or one genus of a plant that has caffeine, and it's called Camellia sinensis. Camellia, like the camellia flowers that you grow. And this is called Camellia sinensis. And Camellia sinensis is the only camellia that has caffeine in the leaves. The rest of the varieties of camellias don't. So think of it like wine grapes. You have your wine varieties, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, and some grow better in some areas and some grow better in others. Tea is the exact same. So they're all Camellia sinensis as a genus, and then there are a ton of varieties. So you have ones that are short leaf, long leaf, high altitude, every possible thing you can think of as a variety of a tea leaf, just like in wine. And they grow in better places. So sometimes they grow better in lowlands, sometimes it's high altitude, depends on the variety. So all of those, this Camellia sinensis are harvested, and the way that the leaves are treated determines what type of tea it is. So if I pick those leaves, I dehydrate them, that's white tea. Okay, so all white tea is Camellia sinensis, and it's just dehydrated. And so it has the lowest concentration of caffeine. Second one is green tea. So I've harvested it. I've actually beaten it a little bit and bruised it. And I've heated it up and dried it. And so that way there's a little more caffeine, and there's a little bit of tannins in it as well. Black tea has been soaked in water and let to fully oxidize. That's why you get the black color, because it was a green leaf, and then it's dried. And so black tea has the highest concentration of caffeine, but they all can come from the same plant. Then you have oolong and a couple others, and they're processed differently. But so all of the types of tea that we know that have caffeine in it come from the same genus plant. They're just processed differently. And that determines whether they're white, green, or black. That makes sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Wow.
Perfect.
That's the thing about tea. So herbs do not have natural caffeine in them. Only the Camellia sinensis plant does. So there isn't anything other than you had a cacao plant lying around, or you had a, caffeine. I don't think there's anything else that has caffeine in it. So that's that. Or maybe what's the other one? There might be one more I'm missing, but I can't think of it.
Thank you very much, someone said.
So, you're welcome. So that's the story with the teas. So it's up to you as a consumer, it makes it kind of tricky for consumers. Again, it's very similar to the wine industry. It's kind of, the labels can be confusing and the process and what does this all mean? I used to think that green, black, and white tea came from different plants, and they don't. So just the processing. So you can also add herbs to that green, black, and white as well. And that's what can give it more flavor. But sometimes those teas are so specialized and they're picked at certain times and at certain growth periods that they're really just good on their own. You wouldn't take, if you're going to make sangria, you're not going to go get a very expensive bottle of wine to do that, right? So same goes with your herbal teas. If you're buying a really fine tea from a, that has some specific quality to it, just, you can drink it on its own. But if you don't, and you get, my Whole Foods lemon in a box like this, we're going to doctor it up a little bit, right? We're going to fix it.
We're going to doctor it up.
Let's do it. Doctors in the house. Let's do it.
So I thought I'd just show you again, because people literally ask me this all the time. What do I, like the chamomile tea? So we're going to start with the chamomile because this is the one I get the most questions about. Okay. Let's do this one first. So we're going to take, so this is about a cup, 2 cups. Okay. It's really like for one person. So we're just going to literally take chamomile. It's important just to take the flowers. So we're going to pick the flowers and toss them in here. See how we did that? Just pick and toss. All right. So I'm going to probably put, I don't know, maybe 10 in there.
That's it?
That's it. We don't need to do any more.
Wow.
And I'm going to put a little bit of lavenders, but I'm only going to do 1 lavender bud. Now, again, make sure you have culinary lavender. Most lavenders are culinary with the exception of the Spanish, or sometimes it's called Australian, which is the small fat sort of bud with the 2 flowers that look like, with the,
antenna.
Thank you. Sticking out.
You're welcome.
Don't eat. That one. We're gonna do 1 lavender, and then we're going to do a couple rose petals because we can. And
that sounds really nice.
So this is, I make this blend under my brand, and this is one of my favorites, and it's really, I call it Rest and Relax. It's very popular.
Rest and Relax.
Okay, so there you go. Because you can see in our little thing, we've got all of our stuff. And we're going to go to my favorite thing in my kitchen, the instant hot water.
I love that thing. I got one too. I love it.
When we redid our kitchen, our contractor's like, do you want this? I'm like, I don't need it. I have the kettle, on the counter. It's fine. And he's like, you're going to want it. I'm like, okay. Oh my God. Why did I
know. I use it all the time. I love it. Yes, we will always compost the stems.
I have a really nice tea kettle though.
I do too. But I love that hot water.
I had it instant hot water.
When I want it right now. Or if I want to top something off, or I love that.
Adjust the temperature. I have mine a little lower than boiling because I do drink so much herbal tea. Temperature of water is also another thing. For the lower the temperature is for the more herbal teas, the higher temperature for the black teas. There are tea purists that will get all bent out of whack if the temperature's not right and this and that. And I am absolutely sure there's something to it. I just personally don't have that sophisticated of a tea palette to notice the difference. So I just try to stay under, around 190, 195 is where I've set my instant hot water because I know that's where I like my tea. So as you can see, we're already starting to get a little color, and you'll notice that the rose petals are already fading. These rose petals are amazing, the way that they, how much flavor and color they have.
I just made some rose water, Hollie, toner from my rose water, and I love simmering the petals.
Oh, it's so
color.
Beautiful.
So fun.
It's really nice. It's really nice. The other thing is a hydrosol, which is when you're making essential oils, you're boiling the plant, and then the steam that comes off of that goes in 2 directions. One goes into a resin, which is your essential oil, and the other is water from the condensation. The water is a hydrosol, and the hydrosols are awesome because you get a lot of the scent, but you're not getting the resin. So they're great for, face sprays and room fresheners. I love them. Okay. So that's one tea. We're just gonna let that steep. And generally, herbs are, fresh herbs like this are steep a little faster. And it also depends how you like it. If you taste it, you're like, I don't taste anything. Throw more herbs in there. And let it steep longer. But it's up to you. So But next, we have all of this gorgeous mint. Maybe let's do some mint maybe and some lemon. I kind of like that combo. So let's take our, one of our Mojito mints. We're going to take a bit of the stem, fold the stem up in there. We're going to take one of these high oil content ones too. This is going to get really.
So are you going to ice those?
I am. So I'm going to let them steep to the flavor that I like, the strength that I like. And then I'm going to put them, we can do one of two things. We can put them in a larger, like I actually like to make iced tea in a larger jar like this. And I steep it hot. And then I either put it in the refrigerator, I set it aside till it gets room temp. And then when it's ready to drink, you just add ice to your glass and cool it.
Okay.
But you can do however. With these little guys here, we're just going to pour these in a glass with ice. And we're gonna let them cool off a little bit. Okay, so what's that? 1, 2. Let's add one more thing. How about some fresh lemon? Slice of lemon.
I love peppermint tea before I go to sleep. It really makes my stomach feel good.
It's a good digestive aid for sure. So we're just gonna take and make sure, if you can, that you're using organic lemons. Anytime you're putting citrus like oranges or limes or lemons in your drink, it's so important because when they spray these puppies, pesticides, they're spraying the outside of the fruit. And so all of that stuff gets stuck on there. And so when you put it in your water, all of a sudden you've got all the pesticide residue in your tea.
Yum, pesticide water.
It's not good. So if you don't have organic lemons or don't have access to them, just make sure you're washing them as much as you can before. Give them a good rinse. Okay, so we're gonna put our lemons in here. I like to just do them whole because of course all the good lemon oil is in the skin. All right, so we've packed this puppy here. We've got our mint and we've got a couple lemons. So we're gonna put some hot water in this guy.
Right from the sink.
Amazing. If I would have done the show, it would have taken many minutes to boil the water.
So what's funny is that, Lisa, you were saying how Americans don't have a ritual. Well, of course, ours would be use the instant hot water, right? That's classic American. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Let's do a green tea, okay? So we're gonna steep. We're gonna take one of my green teas. I'm gonna use decaf because I'm a caffeine wimp. So I'm gonna use 2 bags because again, if I wanted to fill this one up, I'd probably use 4 bags. It depends how strong you like it. Up to you. This could be black tea also, or white tea. So we're gonna steep this first.
Well, also when you add ice, that dilutes the drink, so you can make it a little stronger than if you were just going to drink it straight.
Yeah. That's why I like to let it cool to room temp before, because then the isothermal doesn't water it down. All right, so we've got green tea in here. One of my all-time favorite things to put in green tea is lemon verbena. It's so good, so good. So we're gonna take 1, 2, 3. We're gonna put like 7 leaves in there, maybe 8. 8's a better number. Let's put 8 in. Okay.
Holly was born on the 8.
That's a good number. All right, so we're gonna I just literally put those leaves in the hot water that has the green tea. That's all you have.
Okay.
That's it. That's it.
Perfect.
We can also put a couple of the lemon balm too. That's a nice combo. And again, it's up to you. You can also throw in an orange slice in there, whatever. If you go somewhere and you find something that tastes good, a flavor profile, go for it. Oh, we haven't talked about honey yet. Okay.
I was going to say, if you want to sweeten the tea, what do you do?
So just so happen to have a Hollie's Homegrown honey here. What? So we just harvested this honey 3 weeks ago now. So this is the best harvest for honeys in the spring. And this is a nice light golden honey. It's so good. So you can, but remember, if you're taking honey medicinally, putting it in your hot water, anything over 140 degrees is going to pasteurize it. So if I were taking this medicinally, I'd just take a teaspoon for myself, and then I'd put a teaspoon in the tea because I've lost all the medicinal properties. Still going to have all the great sweet flavor. It's just not going to help you with your allergies or whatever things you may be taking honey for. So I like to put, let's see, what did we make here? In the mint, ooh, let's put a little honey in the mint.
I love mint with honey.
Spoon in there.
Lemon and honey, there's nothing better than that. Iced tea.
It's gonna be good.
Good.
So we'll put some honey in there. And just, again, you can adjust this to, and I'll put a recipe, I'll post a recipe, but really you can just adjust this to your preference. Some people love sweet tea. If you're going to do sugar, you might want to make a simple syrup first. And I know you know how to do that because we've made many a simple syrup on Corona Kitchen.
Yep.
So you could do it that way. Or, you know, you can't put the sugar in directly. You can use stevia, another nice sweetener for tea. I found for stevia that's my favorite way to use it is to sweeten teas. I haven't found culinary to be that great, but I do like it in tea. And it's a nice way of watching your blood sugar because it has 0 glycemic index. I think. Okay, so let's look at our teas here. So you'll notice right away that the green tea that has the lemon verbena and the lemon balm, the leaves are turning brown. And that's okay. That's exactly what they're supposed to do. So don't panic. We're just going to give it a mix, and it's just steeping. You know, now we've got this really nice tea here. Our chamomile is going. Oh, and look at this. I'm going to show you this because you won't believe this. Okay, look at this. The rose petals are white. See them?
Wow.
They were this color like how many minutes ago when I was talking. So that's how fast they lose their color.
Well, that's going to be a nice rosy color.
Yeah, well, it's getting some. It does. It's interesting. It doesn't. We really have to put a lot to get the rose color. And again, it's up to you. I mean, I've got thousands of these roses. You can make it. But the thing about rose is that the flavor can get a little perfumey and soapy. People think of soap if there's too much lavender or rose in it. So I try to keep it more on the ratios go. You know, 2/3 chamomile and then 1/3 lavender, 1/3 rose. All right, should we actually make some iced tea? So
yes,
this is a nice tall glass. We're gonna take our ice, our cubed ice, fill it up to the top. This is gonna be a little hot, so we're gonna melt quite a bit of this ice. But normally we'd want this to be a little more room temp.
You'd let it You'd let it cool all the way before you put it on the ice.
And you might want to strain it because the thing is, if I let this just sit here with the green tea, it's going to be very strong, you know. So it's
now. Have you ever done any of those herb teas like a sun tea?
You can't. You know, a sun tea is basically just steeping it with the heat of the sun and not warming up necessarily the water right away. And it's sort of like a colder infusion. But that's up to you. The thing that you have to be careful of is that, especially when you're using fresh herbs, there is a shelf life. And I wouldn't let anything sit really longer than 24 hours because you don't want any bacteria or anything like that to start to form. Okay. So it's really important to, after you've made it, if we strain this, why don't we go ahead and strain this just so you guys can see. If I can find a strainer. What happens when somebody else puts the dishes away? Okay. Or I'm just going to hold this down.
On the other hand, somebody else put the dishes away.
On the other hand, somebody else put the dishes away. Exactly. Okay. So you can see from this one, this was the green tea with the lemon verbena, the nice color we have here, right? So I would then take this once it's filled and put it in the fridge because that way it'll last, 4 or 5 days and you're good to go. Or put it in a pitcher or whatever, like I said, glass, preferably receptacle you have. Because if you keep this in here, it's going to get funky. You don't want to have the stuff floating around. If you like to have a little freshness, what you could do is let's take a little sprig of lemon balm. If you're going to serve this and you want to be kind of festive, since this is lemon balm and verbena, take a new fresh sprig, put it in your glass. And now we have a cute little decoration. So we're going to pour our tea in. And again, this is hot, so it's going to melt a lot of it.
Yes, it does. The ice will weaken the flavor. That's why you have to adjust it, to how strong you want it. Oh, look how pretty.
There you go. Cheers.
That looks so refreshingly lovely. I wish I could be drinking it right now.
It's really good.
Yay.
I'm going to go make some. It's really fun to think of different flavors outside of the box. Like you could put orange and stuff or ginger.
If you don't have access to fresh herbs or, it's something that you don't have time to do or whatever, go into the tea section and find teas that you like. Like, again, like this elderberry and echinacea whatever, there's a ton of really wonderful brands now doing really creative flavors. And that's even easier. Then you just take the tea bags, steep them, put them in a big jar, let it cool, same thing. And you just pour it in your glass. And then, you can take your fresh mint or whatever and put a sprig of that in there. So don't be afraid. You're not limited to just fresh. Be creative. If there's other flavors you like, go ahead and stick them in here. See what tastes good to you. I think we are so programmed to this black tea, really astringent iced tea that we all drink because that's all they ever serve. The second you have anything different, you're like, oh my God, this whole time we could have been doing something else.
A lot of times lately, I see prickly pear teas, hibiscus teas a lot, and what's the other one that people always do? It's sweet. It's like a mango passion fruit, or there's always like this fruity thing with the black tea. So how do you get those kind of essences? Because there's no fruit, you don't see any fruit in it. You just see the black tea with the essence. What are they doing with that one?
Well, one or two things. They could have dehydrated the herbs and had them, they're actually in the tea blend. Or sometimes they'll take the black tea and use concentrated juice and either let it cold infuse in the black tea. And so you have the flavor in there, or they do something even worse, which is much more of a chemical process where they're extracting the flavor out. And that's not really great.
Yeah.
So you want to, one of my favorite things to do is cut open your tea bag. Take some scissors, see what is in that bag, and you'll be stunned at how, little there is in there. And the good tea companies, you can actually recognize the herbs and the green tea. So, it can get expensive, but it can be the type of thing you can splurge on. And for the summer, like I said, this is my boxed organic Whole Foods green tea. And then we doctored it with some of my herbs. And, so this is pennies, an expensive thing. And it's a nice way to serve a drink during the day in the summer. It's also nice to offer your guests that don't drink alcohol at parties. So they can have something festive too. And, or if you want.
And it's also nice to add bourbon too.
Or you want to add a little here, you can toss a little vodka, no problem.
Mint julep.
I class anybody, right? So, it's just, I always try to make it more of a celebration or have it be fun for people and just myself, just to, serve this to yourself in a wine glass, or break out those martini glasses you're never using or whatever your fun stuff you have. It just makes it more interesting and more fun. So those are my recommendations. So that is all I know about iced tea.
Thank you.
Yay! I really learned some stuff.
Cheers.
I was thinking about Hollie. When our sister Heidi lived in Paris, and we used to go to the Mariage Frere, the tea place in Paris, and when you talked about breaking open the tea, and they only sell the loose leaf tea, like a perfumer, like a person who studies and crafted this stuff. It just start thinking outside the box, people. Tea is a whole other world. It's a whole other world.
Tea is very similar to wine in that it grows in many regions of the world, and many cultures have their specific traditions and flavor profiles, and it's super fun to get into. I've really gotten into it the last 5 or 6 years, and I love it. And it's a lifetime. It's a lifetime education, and it's a wonderful way to connect with people from other cultures too, and to connect to their history and who they are and their health benefits. And so I really encourage everybody to don't be afraid and spend a little more time in your tea aisle and try to have some fun with it.
So in our town, we have a place called the Santa Fe Tea House. And the menu for the tea is this thick, and the food is 1 page.
Right.
I ordered.
There's a tea house on 3rd in LA. There are tea houses all over.
Oh, yeah, San Francisco. Well, San Francisco, because we have such a wonderful, rich Asian culture history, and so many of those countries, have their own very specific things. And we have many places in the city that you can go that are, Japanese, Chinese, Indian, that have incredible. And just within the regions of those countries, from the regions within the cities and the towns, they have their own specific thing. So it's really fun to explore and learn about it. I really enjoy that a lot. So, and we, a few years ago before COVID, we went down to Japantown and did the whole matcha ceremony. And that was really fun to learn about that. So, So it's
Yay.
to explore, and it's like taking a trip around the world, but you know, in the privacy of your own home. You don't have to go, you know, passport to the world is tea. But just try to experiment a little and see what you like and what you don't like. And it's not an expensive investment. You know, you're not buying a $80 bottle of wine. You know, you're buying a $10 or $8 thing of tea. So, all right.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Holly. Thank you.
Yoo-hoo.
I'm gonna make some tea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make some iced tea.
Okay. Coming across the bottom, our Instagram account is at the Corona Kitsch, and there are some political organizations that are very active right now in trying to keep our voting rights. PPC is the Poor People's Campaign. Public Citizen and DemCast, you can find them all by just using the Google.
Check it out. We had an election here today. Do you know any results yet?
No, I think our polls are just closing. So, yes, it's for Deb Holland's seat. So it's Congressional District 1. God willing, everyone went out to vote today.
I just did the mint and lemon. It's delicious with the honey.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. And I'm going to, just in case you guys need to know again, it's Hollie's Homegrown. If you want to check out some of her wares, please go there. We appreciate it.
We're in Northern California.
And if you're ever in Northern California, she's opening up a signature store in Lafayette, California, and it's going to be super cool.
Super great. Thank you so much, Hollie. We sure appreciate it.
Cheers.
Yay. Cheers.
Yay. Miss you. One person.
Yay.
Yay. Oh, we changed the copyright to 2021. The credit.
Bye, everyone. Be safe.
Bye.